Hey guys, how you doing? Welcome to Sunshine and Rain Tarot. As you can see, I'm paying another trip to the graveyard. It's become one of my favourite places to come when I'm doing some recording, whether it's a podcast or a video like this, mainly because it's nice and peaceful. Now there's less people here, less chance of being disturbed. However, it's also a reminder that at the end of our existence on this planet, this is where we end up. But is that really us in there? You know, is that really us that's in there? And the answer is no, because what's in there is just the physical side of us, just the bit that we consider to be tangible and important whilst we are here in this existence. So where's the rest of us? Well, I'm sure many of you already know that the rest of us, what we consider to be our soul, our very essence, goes back into the universe, becomes part of the divine matrix, becomes part of the collective consciousness, becomes part of the very essence that makes us up. We become spiritual beings again. And some may, as some believe, hang around for a while, perhaps even longer, and communicate with us, or at least I would say maybe a part of them communicate with us. I wouldn't say the whole person that we remember. I'm talking about mediumship now and psychic mediums and so on. The ones that they communicate with are perhaps not the actual person that was here, but a part of them that existed here. I know that's going a bit deep, but it's just how I feel. I believe what would be, say, the majority of that person has already moved on. However, there's more to life than that, isn't there? Hi guys, how you doing? What happens then is that we regenerate, don't we, after a while. This is what I'm talking about today, regeneration, from the Colette Baron-Reid Wisdom of the Oracle. We regenerate, we become like Doctor Who, we become a new being, and you may believe that that new being is, it could be an animal or an insect or even a plant or a tree. There are those who believe that. For me, I personally believe that we come back as another person, and those that essence that was the plants, the trees and so on, they come back as another species of plant or something like that. Each has their own kind of energies, or are part of other beings, their energies. It gets very complicated. So I'm not about to go right into it right now, but I think it's enough to say that we do regenerate, and this is a regenerating card. This is saying that no matter what, there is a time to regenerate. This is a card that could be equated to the Judgment card, where we have obviously people rising up from the graves, and being set free again as like a rebirth, a resurrection. This card can also be as the Tower card, when something really happens, really changes our lives. And that could be, usually it's like a sudden change, that could be positive or negative. I like to view it as a positive thing, but sometimes it is a negative thing. It could be a loss of a loved one, it could be a serious illness that we contract ourselves, it could be loss of work, all that kind of things. It's a major change in life, isn't it? And this card can also be the world, in the sense of something ends and then starts again. So it's the start of a new cycle of events. Could also be death. The death card. Very much so. Because the death card is also an ending of a cycle and then starting again. So regeneration then is all about fresh starts. It's about new starts. It's about starting over again. No matter what's happened, whether it's been positive or negative. You know, it's about starting again. It's about making new plans. It's about looking towards the future rather than looking at the past. Instead of being in like the Five of Cups kind of energy where you're focusing on the cups that have been spilled and knocked over, you're focusing on the 2 cups that are still standing, the positive. So all these people here, I'll just show you again, all these people here, okay, no longer exist. It's just bones, dust, bits of flesh, decaying flesh in some cases, but most of these graves are more than 100 years old, so there won't be a lot left. Be some bones in that maybe, but they are no longer there. The people themselves that they represented are no longer there, and that's what regeneration is about. They've probably either come back and have been reborn into another person. So we're talking then as reincarnation, and I believe that that does happen. Or they've moved on to another timeline, maybe even into a future timeline. Just trying to get out of the sun here a bit. Got a very strong sun today, nice autumn sun. Really enjoy that, although it is a bit cool. But anyway, so regeneration then, yes, they could have moved on to another timeline. They could have even gone into the past, because we think of time as linear, as past, present and future. But in actual fact, all we have time-wise is now, is right now. You know, so on the energetic level, time only exists in a single point. All time exists in one single point, which we would call now. And that is wonderful when you think about it. Because when you're regenerated, when you've done your Doctor Who bit and become back as a new person, or maybe you've started your life again after a terrible calamity, an illness, a loss of some kind, you look towards the future of what you want. You remember the past and what happened. But it's much better to stay in the now and regenerate and be what you really, really want to be. Because now is where everything happens. And it's not sometime in the future. You can look at the future and say, yeah, I'd like to do that. I'd like to be that. And you can make your plans for the future. However, if you want that life in the future, now is when you should be living it. And I'm not talking about faking it until you make it. I'm talking about regenerate and believe that you have that life that you want now in this moment in time. Memories are good. They're good to visit. And I think I've said this before. You know, they're good to visit as in the shadow side of us. It's good to visit our shadow side, but we don't want to stay there. It's the same with memories. So don't be so fixated on the past. Visit those memories if needs be. Better still, better yet, let them go, because they're no longer serving you. They're no longer part of your life. That's in the past. You are not that person that you were back then. You are not that person who failed. You're not that person who almost died. You're not that person who lost their business. You're not that person who did that crime. You've moved on. Energetically, you are already a new person. Physically, I think it's every 7 years we become a physical new person anyway. So if you're still hanging on to things that were 10, 15, 20, 30 years ago, the question has to be asked, why? Because those things no longer affect you. They're no longer part of your life. They are no longer affecting you in the sense of having an impact on your life, unless you are living in the past. And you don't want to be doing that, because if you live in the past, this is where you end up. Alright guys, that's it for now. Thank you so much for watching. Go regenerate. You know you can do it. See ya.